Hey guys, it's Jordan with National Speed, and today we're introducing a new series called the Bolt-on Face-Off. Now, the rivalry between Mopar and Blue Oval enthusiasts is nothing new, but we think it's fair to say that in recent years, we've reached a new peak. With contenders including the Shelby GT500 and Challenger SRT Superstock, the F-150 Raptor and Ram TRX, and of course, the Challenger 392 and Mustang GT. Now, anyone who can use Google can figure out how these models stack up stock for stock, but what about at various levels of modification? And that's exactly what the Bolt-on Face-Off is all about. And in this episode, we're pitting the 2021 Dodge Challenger RT Scat Pack against the 2021 Ford Mustang GT with equivalent naturally aspirated modifications. It's 6.4 Hemi versus Gen 3 Coyote, and it's going down right now. Alright, with that all out of the way, let's get right to it, starting with some baseline dyno pulls with each of our contestants. Up first, our 2021 Challenger 6.4 liter. And note that this car is equipped with a 6-speed manual TR6060 transmission. Alright, nice and healthy, coming in at 429.86 wheel horsepower and 430.80 pound-feet of torque. Drivetrain loss of 55.14 horsepower and 44.2 pound-feet of torque. Next, our 2021 Mustang 5 liter. And note that our Mustang is equipped with a 10-speed automatic 10R80 transmission. .24 wheel horsepower and 387.01 pound-feet of torque. Its drivetrain loss of 50.76 horsepower and 32.99 pound-feet of torque. Not bad for an automatic. Now, let's compare these. Alright, needless to say, it's easy to see which is which. The Hemi 6.4 liter of displacement's making a strong showing in the low to mid-range of the power band, and the Coyote 5 liter is making its showing up top. Peak delta of 21 wheel horsepower and 44 pound-feet of torque, with maximum horsepower delta of 54 wheel horsepower at 4100 RPM, and maximum torque delta of 76 pound-feet at 4100 RPM as well. No surprise there, so let's get to the modifications. Alright, next in the shop, each of these cars are going to get fitted with intakes from JLT Performance and then dialed in on the dyno via HP tuners. Up first, the Challenger.
I shall pet my little friend.
Alright, nice jump up to 452.32 wheel horsepower and 458.66 pound-feet of torque. That's peak gains of 22.46 wheel horsepower and 27.86 pound-feet of torque, with maximum gains coming in at 52.84 wheel horsepower and 65.38 pound-feet of torque. Next, the Mustang. Alright, now put jumps to 430.17 wheel horsepower and 402.56 pound-feet of torque. That's peak gains of 20.93 wheel horsepower and 15.55 pound-feet of torque, with maximum gains coming in at 28.54 wheel horsepower and 28.83 pound-feet of torque. Now, let's compare both of these. Alright, and so far it's easy to see that the Challenger's taking the lead early in terms of gains. Peak delta of 22 wheel horsepower and 56 pound-feet of torque, with maximum horsepower delta of 50 wheel horsepower at 5,000 RPM, and maximum torque delta of 84 pound-feet at 3,500 RPM. Pretty crazy difference. Alright, now that both cars are fitted with JLT performance intake systems, they're going to go back to the shop to get fitted with stainless power long tube headers. Each will include high flow catalytic converters, and each will be connecting to the stock exhaust system. Up first, the Challenger.
Left side header install, take 1.
And back to the dyno. Alright, quick side note here. I absolutely love how the 6.4 Hemis sound with long tube headers. Such a huge improvement over stock. But anyway, on to the numbers here. With the calibration maximizing results, output jumped to 462.22 wheel horsepower and 464.25 pound-feet of torque. That's peak gains of 32.36 wheel horsepower and 33.45 pound-feet of torque, with maximum gains coming in at 54.43 wheel horsepower and 67.33 pound-feet of torque.
I've got a hunch and a hunch for you.
Why are you so serious?
And back to the dyno. With the calibration maximizing performance, output jumps significantly up to 459.33 wheel horsepower and 421.69 pound-feet of torque. That's peak gains of 50.09 wheel horsepower and 34.68 pound-feet of torque, with maximum gains coming in at 56.56 wheel horsepower and 59.60 pound-feet of torque. Now let's compare these. Yeah, and as you can see, long tube headers definitely caught Mustang up here. Now, peak delta of only 3 wheel horsepower and 43 pound-feet of torque, with maximum horsepower delta of 59 wheel horsepower, 4,000 RPM, and maximum torque delta of 76 pound-feet at 3,600 RPM. Alright, so with all that data said, what's our takeaway here? Well, to us, there are so many merits with each of these cars that can't possibly be covered in a short video. And it's no secret that we love our Mopars and Mustangs alike. We build a ton of them. But in terms of which is more responsive to the same modifications, which is the whole point of bolt-on face-off, While both were impressive and Challenger ended up making more power and torque overall, we've got to give Mustang the win here. In short, with the same modifications, it just picked up more power. And given how responsive they are to basic modifications and the lower entry price point, it's no wonder that Mustang continues to represent a significant portion of America's enthusiast community. Alright guys, that's all we have for this episode of Bolt-On Face-Off, and if you could, let us know what comparisons you would like to see in the future, and also don't forget to like and subscribe to stay tuned for more. And as always, if you have any questions at all, we're happy to chat. Thanks for watching.